The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, go Cowboys! This is Mick Shots, streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app. Now, here are Bill Jones, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
Well, it's Everson Walls and Mickey Spagnola once again. We're going to have to send a doctor over to Bill Jones's house.
We're going to have to get a new intro.
Make sure that he's okay, but he's still under the weather, so we will just continue on with Mick Shots on this Wednesday at the SWBC podcast studio here in the Star, and it's a kind of a glorious fall after a
really
morning.
Feels nice.
Right? Nice out there.
Yes. The Wednesday afternoon now, Spags. We come on at noon.
So it is afternoon, right? Absolutely. And I was glad to see the temperature because I was supposed to play tennis tonight at 7 o'clock. So I was hoping I wasn't going to be freezing.
Man, I saw you limping around here. You
no, I am not limping.
Okay, you're
whatsoever.
not limping around here.
I recovered.
You favor.
No, I recovered from my 2-week injury. I sprained. I sprained my good foot.
Oh, you didn't tell me. I saw you limping, and I'm like, man, he's still feeling that Achilles injury.
And I hit it right by the big toe, which is the worst,
there
right?
You go.
Because you need your big toe to do anything athletic, right?
You have bunions?
I do. And that's where I hit it, by the way.
That's torture. That's torture.
It's like, okay, I need to get rid of this
How many
thing.
times did you curse, man?
Oh,
and
gosh.
Who did you curse?
And then it got worse. Yeah, myself, because it was a dumb thing. I was outside barefoot by the pool when it was raining. Yeah, idiot. Anyway, you're right. There's a lot of tours going on here today as another one's coming through, and I think
the tours, man.
They can hear us.
Hey, I like the tours.
As we
Look
start
at the cowboy
this.
head right there.
Yeah, right.
My
All right,
man.
you got it right, I hope, this time.
Yeah. Tell him it's not.
I did.
I heard you reprimanding that man.
It's like, hey, let's get it right. We need credit.
That's right.
So anyway, Cowboys on a different schedule than normal on Wednesday. We just got out of the locker room for right at about an hour. They will have their team meeting right now. I think he was trying to keep them off their feet as long as possible. And then McCarthy at 3 o'clock, and they will practice at 4. But it's a closed practice, so don't hang around to think you're going to watch anything.
If this was back in the day, and Nate and I were talking about it, we made mention of it yesterday, this would be one of those games where the entire team would have to be in on the film session. In other words, you don't save time by splitting up into your special teams coach and you watch
your position,
your defensive coach, and then break it even down more into the position coaches.
Right.
Meaning just the DBs watch it together, linebackers watch it in their own room, D linemen their own room. When it's a game like this, Tom Landry would make all of us, kickers, linemen, DBs, running backs, receivers, all of us had to watch it together.
Now, did you have to watch it immediately the day after, on Monday?
Yes, we watched it Monday.
I think.
Well, yeah, that's the way the schedule was back then.
And I think they did too, by the way.
Man,
and it probably was hard to watch.
And that's what he wanted. Yeah, it's not just a punishment. It's about the. You can phase things so many different ways as a coach. You can say, well, it's about, accountability from all sides, which I kind of like that one because, you can't tell me something different when we know what the truth is in this room.
Especially when you see it in color now, not black and white.
And back and forth. 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 Okay, thanks, Coach. I got it. I think I got it now, Coach.
I remember.
I blew it.
I remember one day, it was only like our sophomore year in high school, and we're watching game film, and one of the guys was arguing with the coach, right? And he goes, okay, I want you to see this, right? And he did that, back and forth, back and forth. That's when I learned the term, film don't lie.
Right. And see, that's how I watch a game. And I know my son is my little protege, so He sits there and patiently listens to me just go over. I'll run the game, live game back.
Just stop the game.
Yeah, like, hold it, man. Did you see that, son? Like, yeah, Dad, I see it. Can we catch up to the game real time, please? Because, you just see something, you notice it, and you say, man, that is not how you do it. It's not that we're better than as older guys. We made the same mistakes.
Yeah.
We made the mistakes. That's why we know. That's why I try to teach my kid, don't make the same mistakes I make. You got to make your different mistakes. And that's how you get better as a player.
Right.
You can't keep making the same mistakes. You better try to make some different ones.
And that's what sounded like when we were talking to the guys about them watching the film and understanding that it wasn't effort, it wasn't skill, it was just a matter of doing what you're supposed to do. And not try to do the guy's next job to you. And I was, I think it was Neville Gallimore was pointing out that, if you got the B gap and the guy next to you's got the gap next to you and he jumps in the B gap and there's two guys in the B gap, well, the gap where somebody was supposed to be, that now means that guy on the offensive line is on the linebacker, and the linebacker's not going to make a play.
And he's cut off.
Right.
He is cut off.
So the moral of the story was do your job
and don't get gashed.
And sometimes, that's what happens. The play you don't make is the play you make.
Now, here's what I think about good defense. I was there with the Cowboys. We had our Doomsday 2 or whatever you want to call it. And then I was with the Giants, which is really a lesson on just how really to play a certain type of defense with aggression. I learned to play good defense under Tom Landry and Bill Belichick. The thing you have to worry about with a good defense is a good defense will stop some of the greatest plays that never happened. Mm-hmm. You understand? Mm-hmm. If your defense plays up to snuff, then Aaron Rodgers' game never happens. You see, there's not Watson doesn't catch 3 touchdown passes. You see, those things don't happen if you play the defense correctly. That's a story that will never be told, Spags. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So this moment will never happen because I did my job. And I can say that, I always bring it up about San Francisco. That's a play, when you do it right, that history-made play should never have happened. So when I say that I critique, not because I'm better than, it's because I've been there.
Right.
Trust me, I've been there.
Well, I went back and looked at a lot of the plays, although during the game I was doing what you were doing. I was like, okay, I got to see that again. And I'd roll my laptop back or the video on my laptop, and it's like, oh, okay, that's why that happened. Mm-hmm. And you start seeing things, and it was like I think it was the 4th and 7 play, the touchdown to Watson.
Yeah.
And they were in a bunch formation to the right. And Watson was the rightest one on the right. Mm-hmm. And so he cut behind one guy, and the other guy crossed his face.
Yes.
So he went underneath.
He sure did.
And he cut right between those 2 wide receivers going left. Mm-hmm. And Bland, who's in the slot, he's playing 5 yards off the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
So when you don't get your hands on that guy, he gets
which was the whole point of the bunch.
He gets a cross, right?
He gets a jump on going across as well.
He's running, and you're standing flat foot, right? Yes. And then he gets open, and then the safety over the top, Hooker, was reacting to the 2 other guys.
That's right.
Instead of the guy that was
right across his face.
Open, right?
Right. Now, of course, that's by design. Now, to me, if I see a bunch and I have one safety high, I'm going to play to that safety. So I'm going to be outside outside and deep if I'm on top with leverage.
Right.
If I'm playing man-to-man. That safety, and I know it's tempting to go and help those guys But they have their guys.
Like the two guys over there.
They're to
right?
the outside. They're outside the numbers.
Right.
If you're a one high safety, don't worry about anybody outside the numbers. That guy crossed your face. That's who you should have seen. And he threatened him early as well.
Because there was no one over on the other side to help you, right?
There was no one over there.
And I also noticed on that play that they had the Cowboys had 7 guys on the line of scrimmage. Now 2 dropped off, but they weren't in coverage,
right.
And they didn't drop off where Watson was cutting across. They ended up having a 5-man rush, and didn't get there, which meant he had all the time in the world to go all the way across.
And he really didn't even need it.
Yeah,
he was open from the beginning.
Right, and they could have hit him. So anyway, it's just. And the other thing on Hooker, and I'm not trying to lay blame, but the 2 other guys that were over there in the bunch, they ran short routes. So the safety didn't really have to help those. He never should have even reacted to them. And that's kind of how that play turned out. But it's amazing when you go back and kind of look at the things, and even the 2 interceptions. It was like, and I could see afterwards watching it and watching Lamb how he reacted at the goal line. It was like, Schultz, you were supposed to clear that guy out. And then it was an easy touchdown because the corner or whoever was in the slot covering Lamb,
he was outside.
He was like 7-8 yards behind him. It would have been an easy throw.
Just the way C.D. Lamb caught the same not the same play, but in the
later.
Same manner.
Yeah,
that's true.
And just got to clear that guy out. And as it ended up, he ended up, instead of going out like that, he went up and kept right in front of him. And you can see it plain as day, right? And so they had that discussion on the sideline. And there was another play later in the game, and they did it right. And that's why CD was so wide open.
And you know what's so crazy? Like you said, it's not about blame, but it is about accountability. And so let's just be real. CD, for a major portion of the game, played excellent football.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. 11 catches, 150, something like that? Man, that's a day. That's a number 1 receiver right there.
Yeah.
But you have to have that reputation of being that, and Nate always talked, being that dog.
Right.
And so that means that every play, you're going to make sure that you put your team in the right position. So when you have to make that route, when you have to run your route, regardless of who's in there, regardless of the contact that might be made, regardless of the mistake or whatever, you got to go in there and keep that guy from cutting you off.
Right.
As a wide receiver.
And that's what happened on the second interception. Going back to the first interception, if Schultz had flattened his route off, that safety who made the interception forward would have gone with him.
That's correct.
Right? Yeah. And they would have been open. And then on the second one, they were in 2 deep safeties. The Cowboys went empty. They had 3 wide receivers to the left, and Hendershot, was one of them. And all CD had to do was take a right turn, like 90 degrees.
Yes, 90 degrees.
You can't go 45 behind the safety.
It's made to go 45, but if that safety's there, then yes, you have to.
Right.
It's automatic that you cut it to 45 degrees. And that's understood between wide receiver and quarterback.
Right.
You don't need to look at me for that. The defensive back dictates how I run my route, period.
Right. And then the other thing I noticed was the ball got tipped just a little bit.
I thought it did.
It did.
I thought it did.
I thought so, and then when I looked at it and I played it back, and it looked like the guy just got his fingertips on it, and you can see the ball wobble. Not that was going to make a difference.
No, it didn't stop him from catching.
He would have been better off if he hit the damn thing. So yeah, it's quite amazing when you go back and look at things and break it down instead of reacting to what those guys say on TV. But to Olsen's credit, he broke down both of those plays perfectly. He saw it, right? The tight end knew what the tight end was supposed to do.
I think that's why he gets some of the games that he gets, talking about Olsen. I think his detail, his attention to detail is really it's up there with the best guys that's on TV right now.
Yeah, he broke it down and just to see it, right?
Immediately
didn't need to see a replay,
nope, he
right?
did not.
Exactly what
he saw it as
what
it happened.
Yeah, and even on Schultz's touchdown, he ran a really good route.
He did.
And he just cut to the right, but he cut it straight and then made the play to get into the end zone. So
I know that felt good for Schultz.
Right.
I know that felt good for him. He's been having a tough year.
Yeah. And so, and the tight ends have done a really good job, but when you see just one misstep, and it's like it's amazing. Even in coverage, when you watch coverage, and I've noticed this, and I'm sure you noticed it when you were a safety, all you got to do is take one step the wrong way, and you can't recover. It's amazing.
Right. Especially against a good quarterback.
Right?
Yeah.
Just one step.
One step.
And you leave that spot open, and there it goes. All right.
You can put your head down and dig in all you want.
Right.
It's too late.
So anyway, when they talk about technique and, do your job, that's what this is. I mean, they've sprung a leak now, and guess what Minnesota's going to do on Sunday, right? And not to mention, and we'll get to this next, Justin Jefferson just happened to be the NFC Offensive Player of the Week, right? Yeah. And I'm sitting there going, somewhere Watson going, well, why'd you have to have a game like that this week? That was my award, right? I don't know how it could have been better, but his was spectacularly better. And we'll talk about that next as we continue here on Mick Shots.
That was good.
I was wanting to say talking Cowboys.
Oh, yeah.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
We paid how much for those lessons?
Shh, she's doing great.
Oh, yeah, totally. Can you pass me a Pepsi Zero Sugar? Great job, honey! Oh, look at that. That's not the end.
No way. Now it's time for the encore.
You know what? You're right. 5 times? Not enough times.
For everyone who traded in rock concerts for their kids' recitals, you've compromised enough. Pepsi Zero Sugar. That's what I like.
Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate. You hear that? I'm a torrential downpour. Torrential? What's that even mean? It means you can't see out of your windshield. And if you have the wrong car insurance, you might have to make it rain to fix your bumper. So switch to Allstate, save money, and be better protected from mayhem, like me.
Based on coverage and limits selected, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. In most states, prices vary based on how you buy. Allstate Bar and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
What do you call a group of grown men and women with their faces painted silver and blue who get together every week to share a 3-hour-long ritual of jumping, singing, and toasting Miller Lite in 10-gallon hats while yelling, "How about them Cowboys?" You call it Miller Time in Dallas. Here's to the Cowboys. Here's to the original light beer. It's Miller Time. Celebrate responsibly. 2021 Miller Brewing Company, Fort Worth, Texas.
Back to Mick Shots.
Cape Post Roofing and Waterproofing, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys. From corporate homes to your home, have your roof checked by choice, not by chance. Call now, 214-225-4860. That is capepostcompany.com.
All right.
As the Cowboys now have to turn their attention towards the Minnesota Vikings, 8-1.
Mm-hmm.
Who'd have thunk it?
Well, nobody did. I remember we talked around 4 games ago, and I said that they were the most underrated team. And it wasn't because of their play. It's because no one's paying attention.
Right.
First of all, no one expected it, and no one is paying attention.
And I can't remember if I said this here or somewhere else, but I'm going to say it again. And they're with all these comebacks they've had right? Almost every game, it seems like they're dead, and then they come back. And I said, it's like, and this will go over most people's heads that's not at least 50 years old, but I said it's like those old spaghetti westerns, right, where they shoot the guy and he spins and turns and shoot him and he turns and he won't go down, right? And that's what they are. They just they don't go down. They somehow survive. And, you know, this last game, same thing.
Let's hope that they've had enough of those.
Right?
Like
At
you
some
said,
point, right?
Yeah, let's hope that we're the team that stops them from doing that, because you look at that and say, they can't keep doing this the entire season. Someone's going to come along and, you know, buck the trend.
So their point differential is only 35 points. Think about how all these close shaves, you know, 8, 9, what?
That's 9, 10 games? No, 9
well,
games.
they've played 9.
9 games.
So that's...
You got it. Keep it going.
9 times. That's 4 points a game, right?
That's right.
That's unbelievable.
5. Yeah.
5. Yeah. Boy, but, you know, they win. Yeah. So it goes back to, you know, what I said about Dak saying you got to make the plays that matter.
That's right.
And the Cowboys,
forget numbers.
Did this, right?
Forget numbers. Buffalo was supposed to win that game. Let's forget numbers.
Right.
It's about the moments.
Right.
And that's where we've also failed ourselves. You see, I mean, we go back to I'm still mad about the San Francisco game with the referee in the way. Who has the ball? I mean, give me a break. See, those moments for us have not been kind.
Right.
Because we have a team, and we talked about this yesterday, I think, a little bit. You got to know how to win. Those are the moments where you know how to win. You're poised. You're ready for the opportunistic moments. We're never ready for that. Matter of fact, we create moments for other teams in that situation. And that's different because before the last 2 years, we were the team that did well under pressure.
Yeah.
And now we're that team that we keep second-guessing ourselves. Well, we should have called a timeout there. Man, we'd have called a timeout there and then challenged this. We seem to be missing those moments, and that's just not from the players. That's from the coaches as well.
You know, it's funny. You brought up the play from last year looking for the referee with the ball. So it's like every time there's a hurry-up, and I see it, and I see this guy come running up real fast, and I go, well, where were you last year, right?
Where he's 35 yards back. That's where he was.
And it's like
he was back there basking in the sun. He was tanning.
What that guy was. And sometimes it's the one of the other guys comes up and grabs it. They didn't wait for the umpire.
Well, nobody wants to be what's the wide receiver's name that screwed up? Was it when he was with the Colts or with the Steelers, where he wanted to show off after he caught the pass for the first down his last 2 minutes? He wants to show off and do his stuff.
Right.
The center, his own center, came and grabbed the ball from him. And they got into an argument. And
don't mess my celebration up.
And that's what it was.
And you know what? That's the other thing I've noticed. I've noticed the center going to the spot, grabbing the ball, and bringing it back.
That's right.
And
everybody's learning.
And he's looking around. Okay, where are you at? Let me hand you the ball. There was a lot of fault in that play. So
what about injuries, personnel? Did they sign somebody?
Well, they did to the practice squad.
Okay.
So basically, it was practice squad stuff. So the wide receiver they signed
does he know where to line up?
Antonio Callaway, who has had a history of knucklehead-itis, going all the way back to Florida.
Wow.
Where he had been suspended multiple times for different things. He was a fourth-round draft choice of Cleveland, and he ended up getting suspended there twice, once 4 games as a rookie for substance, testing positive for substance. And then his second year, he had a 10-game suspension.
Substance abuse?
That one didn't say, but I'm assuming, right? Because it was a second offense.
Right.
And then they let him go, and he got picked up. I don't know why I'm guessing. I wrote all this down. And then he got picked up by Miami, and he ended up getting suspended there.
But you can't go to Miami with a substance abuse problem.
Right? And then Kansas City, they ended up releasing him, and then Kansas City signs him to the practice squad, and then he got released injury with an injury. So he played 5 games in 2020 and hadn't played a game yet since. So I don't know if it's a body or what they're looking for. We'll find out when we talk to McCarthy at 3
as
o'clock.
Long as he
and I
knows
said, I did
line.
say he went to Kansas City and then they released him off the
As long
practice
as he knows
squad.
where to line up. Just line up behind.
Well, you know what?
I'm sorry,
and
man.
I'm not defending Tolbert.
You can't.
But you don't have a blue line
I know.
on the field, right? And after he scooted his foot back like a couple inches. He was right on. It was like right on the line, right?
But
and
his head was still
his
over
head was
the
over,
line.
right? But they don't call offsides
They
for your
really
head,
don't.
do?
They really. Well, Belichick had it called in the Super Bowl,
right,
against the Rams, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, that's.
I mean, that was one of those things where if he was a yard over, I could see it. It was. And it had nothing to do with the play. That was the worst thing.
Golly,
I know,
dude.
I know.
I mean, come on. I mean, come on, man. I mean, you know what? I was a wide receiver, but I was in high school, and trust me, I would not be offsides. I would just look at the yard line there, and I mean, come on, it's right there. I always thought it was silly that the wide receivers had to check with the referee anyway. Don't you know what the line is? Right. That's just me.
Make sure. Well, the referee's at least looking straight through.
Well, I mean,
right?
if I'm lined up on the wide receiver, I don't have to check with the referee to see if I'm offsides.
Well, I'll tell you what. After that, and I had the wrong play when I was watching, but it was after. There was no one close to the line of scrimmage. And I'm going, they're going to call him for not enough guys on the line of scrimmage, right? And it was like, that's how far back everyone, all 3 of them.
Everybody overcompensated.
Yeah, they gave the other guy a half-yard head start on covering him. But, yeah, so anyway, they did that. They signed Brock Hoffman to the practice squad. He's a center.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, so what they've been doing to bring in a backup center has been Shepley, but they've already elevated him twice. So unless you're going to put him on the 53, you need another center that probably you can elevate if the guy's good enough. Although he not have a job, and everybody has 53 guys on their roster, and usually all 16 on their practice squad, and he didn't have a job. So anyway, he's the center, and then they on the practice squad, Tack McKinley. I think we've probably heard his name before. I'm thinking Dan Quinn had him in Atlanta.
I'm sure Bill would know exactly who he is and what high school he went
He's a linebacker / he's basically a pass rusher.
Yeah.
It's Tack with 2 Ks, by the way.
Oh, okay.
2K.
Huh.
So anyway, they've signed him to the practice squad to make room to Afoya, the offensive lineman they released off the practice squad, and then Alec Lindstrom has gone to practice squad injured.
So the Vikings also, they signed some guys too, right?
That part I'm not aware.
You know what? No, that was Philadelphia.
Oh,
Philadelphia.
Okay. Remember, Mick, Tack McKinley actually worked out with the Cowboys, like
it was
at an Oxnard, yes. On
yes,
the field,
that's what
if I remember
thought.
Correctly.
Yeah, and they didn't. They
did not sign him at that time. No.
I wonder. I didn't look up to see where he had been, or if he's been somewhere, or just sitting at home waiting for something. But
I think he's just been sitting at home.
He's kind of a pass rusher. You know, they don't need pass rushers. They need somebody to set the edge against the run. You know, and I think that's, everybody's.
I am so curious. I wish I could have been in the room
to hear.
Not to hear, just to see what adjustments are going to be made.
Right.
Because you're not signing anybody else to play. Okay?
Right.
You got what you got. We're not signing another player, another defensive lineman or whatever to stop the run. What are we going to do? I want to know what adjustments, because if I recall, and I don't know who the defensive, well, I know the defensive coordinator was for the Cowboys under Jimmy. It was Wanstead. But Butch.
And Butch Davis.
Yeah, Butch Davis. I would wonder what kind of adjustments Butch Davis would make in this situation, as well as Ernie Startner back in my day.
Well, I saw a couple plays where the defensive end was acting like he was rushing the quarterback, and here comes Aaron Jones running right by him, like he never saw him, and he was still pushing, right? And it's like, well, you got to play the run on the way to the quarterback.
Well, at that point in the game,
especially in run downs.
I know exactly
right?
what you mean. That's when he cut backside.
Yeah.
And no, that no excuses. But at that point in the game, everything was already off the rails.
And McKinley was signed by Tennessee on September 16 to the practice squad. And then the Rams plucked him off their practice squad on September 21st. And then the Rams released him on October 18th.
So they had to keep him for 3 weeks.
Yep, and then released him on October 18th. Yep.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
But those defensive ends, especially anybody playing on that right side of the defense, has to be aware that pitch is coming.
But now, and then once again, as we made the adjustment, we opened ourselves up to the counter play, which is the runs up the middle.
They cut back.
They actually had a pitch. Aaron Rodgers would pitch it, but Jones came right back to where Aaron Rodgers was standing. So he came back against the grain. That was a pretty good play, and it worked every time. And that's the counter to all of the outside plays where we lost containment.
And on one of those, the guy that was playing the slot on defense, he was going to make the play, and the receiver just clocks him from behind.
Yeah.
I thought you weren't supposed to do that.
Yeah, no, you can't do that.
That was supposed to be illegal.
No, you can't do that. I don't care where you're on the
He's
field.
going to make the tackle.
I don't
at
care
the
where
line
you're
of
on the
scrimmage,
field, you can't
right?
do that.
And he just pushed him down. And it's like, I asked Dan Quinn about it, and he said, yeah, I saw that, just like that.
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, I saw it.
Well, coaches don't want to make too many excuses about referees, because then you end up with a Connor Williams situation.
McKinley played one game for the Rams this year versus the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, did he?
He did. He got assisted tackle. So
an assist.
An assist. That's it.
All right. Well, thanks for that assist from Chris Beam, and to assist him, I'm going to throw it to break.
Right. There you go. Good times.
We paid how much for those lessons?
Shh. She's doing great.
Oh, yeah, totally. Can you pass me a Pepsi Zero Sugar? Great job, honey! Oh, look at that. That's not the end.
No way. Now it's time for the encore.
You know what? You're right. 5 times? Not enough times.
For everyone who traded in rock concerts for their kids' recitals, you've compromised enough. Pepsi Zero Sugar. That's what I like.
Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate. You hear that? I'm a torrential downpour. Torrential? What's that even mean? It means you can't see out of your windshield. And if you have the wrong car insurance, you might have to make it rain to fix your bumper. So switch to Allstate, save money, and be better protected from mayhem, like me.
Based on coverage and limits selected, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. In most states, prices vary based on how you buy. Allstate Bar and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
The season is finally here. For months, we've been gearing up to win. Now it's time for the team that performs on any field, United Ag and Turf. With John Deere zero turns for mowing, compact tractors for loading, mini excavators for digging, Gator utility vehicles for hauling, implements for grading, hay tools for baling. United Ag and Turf, for winning. The official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com for more. Back to Mick Shots.
Two icons, one night. Music legends Billy Joel and Stevie Nicks will perform at AT&T Stadium on Saturday, April 8th, 2023. Tickets are on sale now at SeatGeek.com, the official ticketing provider of AT&T Stadium. Get yours today.
A lot of old people going to be at that concert.
I think I've seen Stevie Nicks in concert like twice.
See?
The first time, when she was playing with Fleetwood Mac, she was really good. It was in Memphis, Tennessee.
Yeah.
The second time, she was on her own in Jackson, Mississippi, and it wasn't quite that good.
Dude, you are a Southern dude, aren't you?
Well, I've been in the South quite a bit.
That's almost your whole life. You're in the
South Carolina, Jackson, Mississippi, and then Dallas, Texas, which I never thought was in the South until I got here.
Southwest.
Well, yeah.
The Southerners don't call us Southerners.
I know.
Yeah, they got this thing going on.
But there were some Southern philosophies here.
Oh, there's no doubt. You trust me,
I don't need to tell you, right?
Don't.
And we won't even get started on South Carolina back in 1975, by the way.
Oh, wow. That's tough.
It was 4 years, so 4 years removed from, and I had a friend there that he went to not only, they hadn't integrated the schools yet, but he went to the boys' school, and they had girls' school. And I said, so did they have that for the other folks in town? Oh, no, they could all go to school together. So anyway, that was my introduction to South Carolina. How many years ago? Almost 50 years ago. All right. So I wanted to make sure we talked about this because it was an unusual, uncommon performance by Luke Gifford on special teams.
Yes.
5 tackles.
Yes. I'm glad we talked about it. Yeah. Because I remember bringing it up. I yelled it out before after one of our shows. And do you think, I'm wondering, do you think that qualifies him for a shot at playing linebacker?
Well, I was hoping.
In regular downs.
And I asked him, I said, and he had a recovered fumble.
Yes, he did.
I said, how do you not get named NFC Special Teams Player of the Week? And he goes, the kicker from Washington had a really good game.
What did he do?
Made a bunch of field goals, I guess, in that win over the Eagles.
Those were good field goals, yeah,
right?
2 over 50 yards.
Yeah.
Yes, 2 over 50 yards.
So anyway, he goes, I think I lost out to him.
I don't know, man.
He goes, of all days, right?
I don't know.
So
man.
I said,
and they won.
Right. I said, this obviously had to be the most you've ever had. He goes, yeah, my rookie year, he goes, I think it was the Giants game, I had 3. And he goes, I've never come close to that or more. Mm-hmm. And I said, 5? And I said, that's got to be like a team record.
And they weren't, chasing the guy down or anything
right.
like that.
And
no, he made
flopping in on
no,
at the end.
Exactly. None of that. No, he made serious stops.
Right.
That really kind of saved it from going extra yards. And just the hustle that he had going for the fumble. I thought he made another play.
He did. He missed one. He said he missed one that he should have had.
I know he was involved.
He said I should have had
with a lot.
And you know what? That's his mentality. I have 5. I should have had 6. Right? I wonder if they track those special teams tackles. Like if I went and looked at Bill Bates game by game.
Yeah.
Although that's a lot of years ago, game by game. But to see if he's ever had, or Kenny Gant, the guys that were really good special teams players. For the Cowboys. But, and even C.J. Goodwin has led the team in special teams tackles, but I don't think he ever had 5.
Well, I put like both of those guys together. When they come together on special teams, something's good is going to happen.
So Fossil keeps a chart and gives them points throughout the year for different things, right? And he said normally what you're trying to hit is 500 points.
Okay.
And he goes, so we said, so how many points do you think Gifford got in that game? And he goes, probably 100. It was like, that's how good the performance was. But to go back to your point, give him a chance at linebacker maybe.
Why not?
See, if he's just one of those guys. Okay, so speaking of NFC Players of the Week, guess who was the offensive NFC Player of the Week? Justin Jefferson. And the Cowboys got to contend with him. When you've seen him play, what makes him so difficult to be able to contain?
First of all, his length. His length is amazing, as you saw with the one-handed catch. And not just catch, but it was a one-handed takeaway
You're right.
He took it away from the DB. Obviously, his vertical is up there.
Yeah.
So you're dealing with an extremely athletic kid, and just because he's long and lanky, his routes are not. He's very quick-footed. He has much control of his body. He's basically a contortionist when the ball goes up in the air. So he's going to challenge you for those 50-50 balls, which is always tough for a defensive back who's used to doing the same. When the ball's in the air, you expect for Diggs to come down with it.
Yeah.
If it's up to he and the wide receiver. This is going to be an issue to where you're going to have to contend with the wide receiver before you go up for the ball. When you have a player like that, you cannot give him room or space to gather and go up for the ball.
So you got to get into his body?
You got to get into his body. And you have to be quicker than he is. Diggs is quicker and faster than he is. Jefferson has the long legs and he has the balance. But you need to be into his body, and you need to have leverage on him at all times.
You know what I need to do is go back and look and see how they dealt with him last year, because they held Minnesota to 17 points.
Yeah, but he's different. He's a different player. No, he's a different player. Here's what Nate said. Nate made a good point about Michael Irvin and going against double teams. Mm-hmm. Jefferson didn't know how to go against double teams last year. Now he knows. Mm-hmm. You it's like anything else. You got to work one guy. You can't work double team two guys. You got to work one guy. And he learned that this year. And that was something that Michael Irvin, all the good receivers, Cooper Kupp, he does that. He works against two DBs all the time. So he has learned to do that. But when it comes down to it, if you have a defensive back that doesn't need a double team, and you guys are just going to say this is going to be our matchup of the game, I think Diggs can handle this guy.
So I was going to ask you that. So say Anthony Brown said he was still in concussion protocol, and he said he would probably be in it till Friday.
Yeah.
And then they'll see if he's able to play or not.
Right.
Say he's not able to play. Would you just put Diggs on Justin Jefferson? Take your chances?
I don't care if Brown was playing. I would put Diggs on Justin Jefferson. But the problem you have is Thielen.
Right.
Did I say his name right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thielen. Yeah.
Thielen is that's an all-pro. We're looking at Jefferson over here. Thielen is a Cooper Kupp. Thielen is he's that slot guy that you have to contend with.
Right.
So the matchups, to me, I'd still put Diggs on Jefferson, but I still know I have Thielen to contend with, and not just some of the times. He is a 70, 80 reception receiver.
Right.
Pro Bowl, all pro. So you have to deal with this as well. That's why they've only lost one game, because these are people that you have to contend with, not to mention all the other talent they have in the backfield.
So I was talking with Jordan Lewis. That was the first time I'd seen him in the locker room on his little scooter. He's got a cast on his foot that was fractured, and he said he had to wear that 4 weeks, and they were going to put another cast, and then they have to have surgery again to take the pins out. So it's like
that.
You're out for the season.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, if they make a deep run in the play, it's like I don't think
he's Dak. Okay, what Dak had to go through is the same thing.
So I asked him. I said, so what makes Jefferson so good? I said, you've covered him. He goes, yeah, we covered him last year. He said it's his suddenness. He comes out of his breaks so fast.
That's their footwork.
I mean, off his takeoff, and then he said he comes out of the breaks, in and out, so fast. He said he can do it all, and he goes on top of it, and I thought this was very good. He said he's a very vicious competitor.
You can see it.
So got a little Michael Irvin.
You can see it,
right? Yeah,
you can see it.
And so when the ball's in the air for him, it's mine.
It's mine. I mean, he showed it. I mean, you don't give up on anything like that. We saw two of the best catches you might see in an entire decade in one game.
Right.
Between Diggs and Jefferson.
And by the way, I didn't bring it with. Oh no, I did. So he's fourth in the NFL in receptions, and he's second in yards. He is averaging 15.4 yards a catch. Now that guy's a load.
He just broke Randy Moss' record
for
consecutive 100-yard games.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, I believe he's.
So what are we at? 9. They've got 9 games, and he's had 1,060 yards receiving already. He's got a half a season almost to play. Right. I mean, can he get to 2,000?
Hey, but
so we could sit here and talk all about stopping the run, but you better take care of that guy.
And hey, Bradley.
We should have invited Brad in.
Are we supposed to interrupt the show?
No,
say hi to Brad.
He's going.
I guess we can always do that.
Do something with Douglas.
But when you look at a player like that, it's football, man.
Yeah.
So who's our player then? It's Diggs.
Right.
Can you handle him? I got him, Coach.
Right.
Put me in, Coach. I'm ready to go.
All I could do is I've gone to or either watched on TV or been there when he was playing at LSU, and in my back of my mind, all I can hear is that announcer at LSU going, "Touchdown, Justin Jefferson." That boy, he wore that line out so many times at LSU, so he was pretty good. So I think we survived another one without Bill, right? We didn't get that high school for Antonio Callaway, but I'll bet he'll text it in to us.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
He better be listening,
let me see.
right?
Nope, nothing.
I told him if he can't make it on Friday, we're doing a phone hookup so he can make his pick to click, right?
That's all we need.
Yeah.
That we'll bring him in at the end of the show.
Or we're going to send a special doctor over.
Callaway's from Booker T, Washington.
I saw that.
In
I
Miami,
just didn't
Florida.
remember it. He's from Miami, Florida. All right. Well, we survived on another Mick shot here without William, but hopefully he's getting better and will join us here later in the week. For Everson, Mickey, and we will talk at you again tomorrow here on Mick Shots.
Go Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!